Hello everyone, it's Steve with Aptera Owners Club. A couple of days ago, Aptera released this very short 1 minute video called Air In, and it had a lot of the updated renders of the production intent vehicle. And so I thought we would kind of see what we can parse out by looking at the video very carefully. So let me know in the comments anything that you guys noticed that maybe I don't talk about. And of course, there was the cool feature at the end with the wheel covers. All right, so they start. Okay, here we go. This is showing the top down of the production intent vehicle. And the first thing that stuck out to me is this rear light. If you look at this rear light, that is much sleeker. The one on Gamma is kind of this very bulbous thing. And I think they've tweaked this since the first Delta renders as well. So that's what's different about that. And then this little nubbin right here, I believe this has got to be the light sensor. So I think that's what the light sensor is doing. And the other interesting thing is here, this is the screen for the right and left side rear view mirror cameras. And it looks like there's a split here, but as you'll see later on in the video, when they give the internal pictures, this does not look like, it looks like it's a single piece of screen. The other thing here is when you look at this mirror, this is the camera stock right here, and this is the mirror part of the mirror. Now, I'm hoping that Aptera has designed this in such a way that this portion right here is easily removable while keeping this intact and making this shape fairly aerodynamic. Currently, they have to have this mirror because of regulations in America. Regulations in Europe and other parts of the world do not require a actual mirror, physical mirror, if there is a rear facing camera here that accomplishes the same thing. America still has not changed that regulation, so this is required by law. But as soon as that regulation is changed, Chris Anthony mentioned a while back that this could be fairly easily removed. So I'm hoping that they did design it so that this is removable. And I know that several of you guys are going to remove this. Regulations be damned. And then, of course, you know, if you get dinged, you probably will get a fix-it ticket, and you can just put the thing back on and show them that you fixed it. All right. So let's keep going. I think that's about all I noticed from this top-down view. Obviously, the number of solar panels have changed a little bit. Okay, so here's a look at the rear view hatch. All right, so nothing too different here. I'm not sure what this thing right here is. Right here. It's not, this is the latch mechanism. Maybe this is a light that shines down into the hatch area. Maybe it is a bumper that holds it. I'm not sure what this is. So tell me what you guys think that this is in the comments below, this thing right here. And then if you look here, this is the 12-volt accessory plug. I'm fairly certain of that. It kind of looks like it's got a little cover, and you pop this down or up, and then it's got the accessory port. Here is the large subwoofer for the sound system. This looks like some kind of latch that you can hook up, either like a divider to keep things from moving around, or maybe like the pet thing, or maybe some cargo netting, but I think it's some kind of hook to secure stuff in the back hatch with. Again, you can see here, this is a much sleeker, less bulbous looking thing. And here's the low rear parking camera. The other camera is obviously on the other side of this. Here is that cool scallop pattern that adds rigidity to the carbon fiber hatch. and the solar goes on top of that. Now, the thing to note is I don't really know what their plan for having glass here is. All the launch edition vehicles obviously are full solar, so that's not an issue. But I don't think you can just cut this out and add glass to it. That doesn't make sense. Unless, of course, I guess they could cut this out and change out the whole solar panel for a piece of glass, but that would be a really thin piece of glass. But maybe that's what they're going with. I'm not sure. Um, Looking here again, here's the mirror. So here's the mirror part of it, and the rear view camera would be right here. And so if you take this off, maybe inside here it's like rounded and more aerodynamic on the inside. I don't know if they've gone far enough to design it that easily to be removed, but it would be nice if they did that. But maybe if they design it that easily to be removed, then the government would say that they are promoting removal and circumventing the regulations. So I'm not sure where they are at that, and they've been a little cagey about the details of that. Maybe I'll get a chance to ask Jason Hill or Chris or someone about that later and see if that's been finalized. Okay, so this is where we start seeing some other stuff. Again, here's a close up of the mirror. The render does not show the camera, but the camera is right here. And yeah, it looks like there would be a way to like detach it right along this diagonal. There does seem to be a break in the contour right here, but unclear. Here is the skateboard plus and minus pedal that's left intact. The console remains the same as we've seen in the previous renders. It's good to see that this thing will hold a very large water bottle, because these very large water bottles are really popular these days. You can see here, I'm gonna let it go a little further. Right here, the physical buttons for park, drive, reverse, neutral are still intact. So these are physical buttons that in case the screen does not work, you can still work the vehicle. Right here is obviously some kind of fill port. My guess is the windshield wiper fluid is going to be filled here. It's kind of a cool place to put it. You can see the side vents right here. These connect to the door and usually provide air for the window defrost. The window defrost usually sits right along here, but I've looked for vents along here and I do not see them. Maybe they just didn't make it to the render, or maybe the vent is right here and it blows across this way. But if that were the case, I don't know what advantage this would have over having this vent. But maybe this vent is just pointed towards the center to ventilate the driver and cannot be aimed laterally to get to the window, so this has to be added. But usually the vents are right here in most cars, but maybe it's somewhere else that we can't see, like over in here. And then here's the cubby for the phone. Unsure what's underneath here, if it's just more storage or this just covers up some structural things. And then of course there's this large area with like a little bungee you can put stuff in there. And so as you can see here, this screen looks like one piece. In the top view, it looked like there might be two pieces. The other thing is the center rear view display is now mounted flush to the roof. And this gives you a lot more space, and this is the module that you could switch out and put the Comma AI in there. And the OpenPilot Comma AI system would be wired up so that you can just put it in there. If it's not ready at launch edition, they said that this would be a modular thing that would be pretty easy to switch out. Now, most cars have this on a stock, so it's adjustable, and that's because in most vehicles, this is an actual mirror, and you would have to change the angle of it so that depending on where the driver sits front and back and how tall they are, it aims correctly out the back. Now, in this case, it doesn't matter because it's just a screen. And the screen, you don't have to change the angle. It's going to give the same view no matter where your head position is, basically. I I want to take a look at this latch better, and I don't know enough to know whether this is like a different latch design. It looks fairly robust, and I believe this is why they have some of that metal roll cage in there, what looks like a roll cage, because I think my guess is the metal, this attaches to that metal rather than directly to the CFSMC or the regular SMC. All right, so I think the coolest part of this whole thing, other than the reveal, I really like the chrome accents here and stuff. It looks nice, and the speaker. The cockpit looks nicer at every redesign. Again, you see this is probably the light sensor, and I think this is the coolest part of the thing is the new UI. So this is our first look at the production intent UI. I believe they're very close, and I mean the UI is the thing that they can change the easiest because it's just all software. But I really like the look of this. It looks good, and what you can see is there it identifies a driver, so it looks like you can probably customize the UI somewhat, and maybe the car is customized for each driver. And that would be cool if the UI could be pretty customizable as well on the driver. It shows you that currently there's a low pressure, and it tells you the PSI of the driver's side front wheel is low. I believe that we are looking here at lowering and raising the windows. Not sure what this is. This is obviously the hatch release, and then here is climate control, fan speed, volume here, and you can of course also if we want to go back, this plus and minus is probably controlling volume, but maybe mappable to be able to control temperature or fan speed, or maybe some other kind of binary up and down controls. There is this very subtle picture of the cockpit itself in this area, and you can decide where the vents are, to defrost, to face, to your feet. Maybe this is front defrost, or maybe this is air refrost, and this is obviously air recycling. You can see here the solar, it has a very prominent part of the UI. It shows you the current charging power, and then how much mileage you've gained in this solar charging section. And I believe this is the amount of time remaining when you're charging on solar until it's full. I'm not sure. Maybe this is showing when it's charging by plug, because I wouldn't think at 62 watts of charging in an hour and 24 minutes you're gonna make this car full. I mean, it's pretty full, this car. It has 372 miles of range, so maybe that is how close to full it is. Not sure. And then we don't know what the settings, safety, and about will show. It also shows Bluetooth, obviously very common, but this is a Wi-Fi symbol, so I don't know if Aptera has its own internal hotspot, but that's what I think it would seem like. It's giving a hotspot, and that's why the Wi-Fi is like this. Or maybe it hooks up to your phone. You turn your phone into a hotspot, and the Aptera has Wi-Fi to get internet access through your phone if you want like faster internet. That's another thing that I don't know. I doubt that Aptera has chosen their partner for connectivity. Obviously, for the phone app to work and for a lot of the features to work remotely, it's going to need some sort of data connection, even if it's not a very high throughput data connection. It's going to need some kind of data connection, and I don't know if they've picked AT&T, Verizon, T-Mobile. Like, who have they picked as their partner for that? All right, so I think this is a great looking UI. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below, but I think this looks great. And here's the new feature. We've always, one of the major questions people ask about Aptera is, how are you going to change the tires? How are you going to put air in the tires? How are you going to check the air pressure, that kind of thing? And up until now, my assumption, and I think most people's assumption, is that this entire wheel pant was going to have to be unbolted. And they've always claimed that it'd be very easy to access the wheels, would not take very long. And I believe that this swivel was uh, was probably implemented many months ago, and they just didn't tell us about it. Probably so that it would be a cool reveal later on, to maintain interest in the fan base while they're getting to production. But we always assumed that the whole thing had to be removed. Now this is a much easier way to do it. I don't know how it unlatches. You can see right here there is these two little pegs, and it looks like that's probably the latching mechanism of where this thing latches down. And there's obviously a little swivel joint right here. Now, if you look at this thing is pretty involved. It's not just the shell. There is some internal structure, probably to add rigidity. Remember, there was that time where the wheel covers were wobbling like crazy in one of the Alpha vehicles. This one looks like they've added a lot of things to maintain rigidity. And obviously there is like a little rubber gasket. Now the thing about this swivel design is, remember the wheel pants are going to move with the wheel. It's not like a regular car where the wheel moves within the wheel well. This wheel well, see, there's not that much room here, right? You know, if the wheel moved up like 2-3 inches, it would impact. But that, remember, the wheel cover moves with the wheel. It's on the suspension. The entire thing is on the suspension swing arm. And so this thing is going to move together. And so there is a lot of vibration and movement of these wheel pants. And so this mechanism has to be very, very secure and robust enough to handle all the vibration on this thing. And I'm sure the engineers that designed this have thought about this way more than I have. But it has to be really tight. The other thing is all this rigidity and mechanism, that's going to add weight to this. And this whole thing is basically unsprung weight. The wheel, the tire, the in-wheel motor, this cover, all the internal things, this whole thing is unsprung weight. It's going to move up and down on the swing arm. And, you know, obviously for performance, you want as little unsprung weight as possible. You want this thing to be as light as possible. So I don't know what material they're using here, but I'm hoping that this entire wheel pant is very light because you want this thing to be as light as possible. I believe the Alafe motors were close to about 40 pounds or so. I'll have to, you know, that's an interesting question that maybe I'll have to ask them, like what the weight of this assembly is. But anyways, this will put to rest any fears about how difficult is it to change the wheels, change a flat, or put air in the tire. It's gonna be super easy. You just swing this thing up, and it's just like any other car at that point. But this mechanism has to be very robust and very secure, and to survive the amount of vibration that this thing is going to experience. And again, I am sure that the engineers that designed this have thought about that and designed it to withstand the forces that it's going to have to withstand. So here it is with everything open. I mean, it looks awesome. This black, the black's color change here really helps this thing look sleeker. You know, the Gamma vehicle kind of looks like a pregnant dolphin. It looks very, very kind of chunky in the middle. And this is the same dimensions, but this dark two-tone design makes the thing look a lot sleeker, which I like. All right, well, I can't wait to see an actual physical production intent vehicle. That's going to be pretty cool. And hopefully that's happening in about 2 months, maybe 3, maybe 4. But at some point we are going to see an actual production intent vehicle. And if it looks like this and has the fit and finish that this thing has on render, it's going to be amazing. All right, guys. Well, thanks for watching. Let me know what you noticed when you watched this. and tell me what you think about the UI and other things that you notice in the comments below. All right, thanks for watching, guys. Have a great day.